Hey out there in YouTube land, it's Kuda Slayer, aka Daytime Number the Beast once again, and today I was going to do a little discussion on how to make effective terrain for your tabletop games. Um, I have mentioned before, one of my other games I like to play a lot is Warhammer 40k, which has a very retro steampunk style aesthetic to it, which means a lot of times you can bring in a lot of older, I would say, more ancient or primitive style settings or props to decorate your tabletop game battle mats with and such. Um, one of my particular favorites is the old dragon teeth obstacle. These were originally created, I believe, shortly after the tanks first started appearing on the battlefield during the First World War, and um, well up into the second, and I believe even to today they're still used. Um, they are, fairly effective in most cases. They're designed basically to kind of for when the tank rolls over them to kind of uh, make the tank uneven, or kind of maybe push on the bottom of the tank so that it cannot get a proper traction and get immobilized that way. Um, but one of the things I always kind of like is in Warhammer 40k is pretty much the term is, go big or get purged, which is a pretty good description of the aesthetic style. If it doesn't have Aquillas or skulls or any kind of heavy detail line, why bother? Um, so I always kind of like seeing large formations of obstacles like this kind of really drive home, the nature of the grim, dark future. Um, One of the things, let's see, first off, you can start these off. You can get these fairly cheaply, or at least um, start making them your own fairly cheaply. Let's see. Um, on YouTube, on eBay, get it right. eBay, there's quite a lot of mauling options. There's a whole host of different manufacturers of dragon teeth that you can use. And then you just kind of have to play around and decide what scale you want to do. Normally, with 28 millimeter scale, you kind of want to stick with like what they're referred to as either 150, maybe all the way up to 161 or 164th scale, possibly 172nd. Um, really, I would suggest you kind of pick what is pleasing to you, because the way terrain kind of works down 9th edition 40k. Um, you don't exactly have to block completely line of sight, but it kind of helps. And sometimes, you know, again, aesthetic is kind of really an important goal to have when you're setting up your terrain. So I was like, yeah, these would be fairly effective for small dragon teeth, and and uh, and when I get to the next part, um, I'll go a little bit more detail about that. But let's see, organize, aren't I? Okay, these were some dragon teeth mines I had made. Really, I had made just kind of on a whim. I had was playing around with some terrain pieces and kind of decided, you know, some of the dragon teeth I was using were not really all that much bigger. Maybe like they were not half the height of a space marine, and so I kind of was pondering around trying to come up with a idea for something that might be good for a super heavy tank, like a Bane blade or something, because I don't care if they are the king of the battlefield. They can have a bad day too, like any other tank. So I actually kind of came across this idea from these little dessert tubs or cups, or whatever you want to call them. one of the restaurants or buffets that my spouse and I like go to were serving these, and of course you see I was kind of having more than my fill, and I was kind of looking at them like, these are actually pretty good shape for the teeth mines or obstacles I was looking for, and so I took one of those and I had some silicone molding compound, and so I made a couple molds out of that, and then I got some quick setting resins, uh, and after making up some what am I looking for? Aquila symbols, because of course Imperium all the way. Um, I made a prototype here, and then off this one particular prototype, I made 2 or 3 more molds, and unfortunately, some of the molds kind of split a little. So, but yeah, it wasn't such a big deal. I decided to take care of that later in cleaning after I made the molds, and with these and the smaller dragon teeth, one of the things you can do is you can go out and get some molding compound and some quick setting resin for about it's roughly $60, and I think if well, one of the things I do is when I make a mold of something, I have to try to make more than one, so I can at least have a little bit of assembly line. And also, one other thing is when you're molding something, always have an extra mold of something else around, because a lot of times if you make too much, mix up too much resin all at once, it's always good to have something else on standby, so you can just pour the extra resin in those molds, and then you're not wasting anything. Uh, See, for $60, of course, it was $30 for the Aluminite molding compound kit, which is you get 2 tubs of the reactants to make the silicone mold, and that's enough to make 2 molds for these guys, and a smaller mold, maybe a smaller mold for like 3 smaller dragon teeth. And then for $30 additional, you can get some quick setting resin, which will set within about 15 minutes, if I remember right. And there's about enough resin, and of course, you can also add dye to the resin if you're particular about what color and product is going to be. You can, for about $30 of quick setting resin, I think I made about 24 of these in one evening, and then I had several smaller dragon teeth to go with them, and that was more than enough to pretty much make a dividing line on a 6-foot wide table, so especially when you space them out right. But for 60, let's see, initial investment of $60. Actually, for initial investment of $30 for just make your own molds, and then additional 30, you can cover a lot of terrain or tabletop with obstacles like this for not too not too much money. And again, I just like the kind of the somewhat brutal, hard angle type obstacles like this. It kind of really, especially when you slap an Aquila symbol on it, it kind of really does drive home the grim dark aesthetic when you're get to the end of it. Let's see. Now here's another kind of another pushing the boundaries on what you can do with dragon teeth. This is a couch leg from my old couch I had to get rid of recently when I replaced it. When the movers came in to bring in the new couch and then take out the old one, I was watching them and I saw them take off the old legs off the old couch, And I was looking at them, and it's like, those are rather nice chunks of wood, and really be ashamed to kind of get rid of them. So I kind of, asked them to leave them when they took the couch away, and I was messing around with them, trying to figure out, there's an idea here. I just need to decide. And after a while, I went to cut off the bolt, the threaded bolt that the legs screw into the couch. I kind of realized, this actually would be a fairly extreme size dragon teeth obstacle for say Titan scale combat, because these are about roughly 6 inches tall, if I remember right. Might be a little taller. So let's see, I cut out a base out of some vegetable fiber or millboard and glued it down after taking off the threaded bolt, and then used some ground up sprues, which I always keep around for decorating bases with and such. And then I 3D printed these Aquila symbols off some files I found online. And you can look at the scale here. These are kind of my test subjects I always use for making terrain. These are some various scale models I do just to prove line of sight and coverage and whatnot. And let's see, where's the... And here's kind of later when I had all 8 legs, I decorated or modified or whatever, and just kind of a Warhound Titan I got in the works right now. Just kind of give you a scale of what these are like, and these would be very good, especially as Titans are becoming more prevalent on most gaming tables, and so you can as you see, you can do all kinds of things with these. Let's see. Here I kind of want to bring into, as much as I like having a lot of obstacles that all look the same, and especially when you get them all lined up in a nice row, how imposing it is. Oftentimes you don't really want to make them all look the same. So I try to modify some of them to make them look different or unique, at least. Kind of break out the conformity of all of them. These are actually, I originally chose these two to do this to because they were the most scratched up legs that I had, and with my Dremel tool and a was it carving or engraving? No, it's a carving tool I used. These were done with a I wish I knew the proper name of it, but it was a kind of a conical shaped engraver used to cut these claw marks in, and because I thought it was kind of a good idea, because there was a couple of real deep gashes originally there on the leg, and so I was trying to figure out how to work that in, and I kind of thought, well, would it be for an Imperial Guard soldier be marching by one of these things like, wait, what do you mean that was done by a small one? How much bigger can they get? And I thought that these 4 claw marks being enlarged and as such kind of really added a lot more character to this particular piece. And then here I kind of originally wanted to do kind of make it look like something like maybe a turnip or something, spit acid at it, and or fire plasma round or something at it. And so what I did was I took a kind of a more spherical engraving tool. Again, I'm sorry, I wish I knew the proper names of them. And what I did was I'll pick a general spot and then take the engraving tool and just kind of do like one real deep hole to kind of show where the center of the impact was, and then kind of start doing progressively lesser, deeper holes all around, just kind of show, the further away from the impact and kind of how much less damage was done as you get further away from the epicenter. I actually kind of thought it was fairly good. Came out fairly well, especially when you get the Aquila icon involved in the damage. It really, for me, I really kind of liked how that came out. And here's a finished version. What these all came out in the end. This didn't come out in the photograph very well. What I did was I started originally out with a red, I think it might have been Mystifian, pronounce it right, red with and some very level layers of Blood Angel contrast to kind of start a base coat. I kind of played around with both of it. Then I started dry brushing with Jacro orange, and then worked my way up to a lighter color. I forget which one it was, and then eventually progressing up from orange to yellow, then white, and in person it still looks like it's going red. Here on the color marks, this is kind of where you really, when you start going to use like inking or washes, you really want to get a nice, good, dark ink set in the color, where the color marks are, kind of really trigger their age or just how deep they really go into. Also, with these icons, you definitely want to kind of use a rush wash of some kind, like maybe even like taking a brass or maybe not so much a brown, but maybe a light brown if you're really stuck for colors. Mix it with some lamb medium, and kind of really give a nice good wash over the icon, and then let it kind of make it drip down, kind of to show weather and age. Just kind of really show that these things are big, imposing, and been around for a long time. And on this one over here, I don't really have any before shots, but I took the spherical carver or graver ahead and edged out the corner here, and then kind of make it look like a strong beam or some sort to hit it, and it just started turning the obstacle into lava and started dripping down the sides. I kind of really think that shows kind of some of the brutality and high energy that's used on the 40K battlefield. Let's see. Sure, Soju scale. But anyway, but yeah, that's, this was a simple block of wood I had left over from a piece of furniture that was going out the door, and I, except for spending money on the couch years ago, and that's really made an initial investment on these, and then saving them for later use, and then recycling the sprues and whatnot. It didn't really take much to make these, and they came out as rather effective, certainly in my opinion, as obstacles. And I guess I showed earlier, so I haven't printed the legs out for this guy yet, but this kind of just gives you a rough idea of the scale and how these would look on your battlefield. So anyway, that's just kind of a couple of things I've done to show how simple it is to come up with effective, imposing terrain for your tabletops and still not really spend so much money on it. Right way back here is another one I had scratched up. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure what I had in mind. Kept thinking about something, make it look like something big just brushed up against it, like it was rammed into or whatever. And so it just kind of was blunting all the angles on the sides, driving as many scratch marks and whatnot. So anyway, hopefully this kind of inspired you to keep an eye out for ideas. There's all kinds of things you can do to recycle, or just resources you can find lying around anywhere. I mean, I see couches being thrown out all the time, and so I'm trying to keep an eye out for any new couches I see on the roadside when I'm driving to work. So, and of course, you can probably recycle 2x4s and such the same way. It's um, pick a particular height and cut them all evenly, and then maybe apply some putty on the sides to make them more uniform, and or at least more one solid shape. Um, and the possibilities are endless here. So anyway, this is Kuda Slayer, aka Daytime Up at the Beast once again, and I'm signing off, and I'll catch y'all next time.